Welcome to Shareware, the weekly podcast where we decide that our weekly opening is kind of bad and we have to change it. And Josh goes, "What the fuck are you doing, Brett? You're not saying the right thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you were right. It's not a good one. So here's the new one. Welcome to Shareware, the podcast where three friends discuss whatever the hell they want. And sometimes it's news, sometimes it's games, sometimes it's sex stuff. Sometimes it's about raw dogging a girl when she doesn't even know you're not in a contest.
I don't think it's literally never been about that. I just want that on there.
It could be. It's a world of infinite possibilities.
Alright.
Yeah?
I'm putting my foot down right here, right now. The one rule of Shareware is your topic cannot just be about raw dogging. If you could tie raw dogging into like some grander sphere of like engaging conversation, then Godspeed. But if your topic is just like, yo, condoms, fuck that.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is like a game where you're raw dogging a girl.
I need like 10 minutes to rework my topic.
Hey, I was gonna do a bit. For the microphone.
Well, but I did a bit first.
Yeah, your bit sucked.
Yeah, but my bit was shorter.
That is a fair point. Can I go back to my bit real quick? I just want to finish it off.
If it'll let us move on to our topics and
sure.
introducing the host.
If it'll get you
No,
off.
absolutely. It will get me off. Okay. Playing Metal Gear Solid 5 is like raw dogging a girl, but then you come too early because you got erectile dysfunction, and then everything else sucks. And then you cry a little bit.
I feel like
inside.
I think you're conflating a few like distinct sexual dysfunctions.
That's Metal Gear Solid 5. A few distinct sexual dysfunctions wrapped into a pretty package of a game.
The phantom dysfunction.
The phantom dick.
Kind of. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
My name is Brett.
We haven't even introduced ourselves.
Yeah. Remember when I was like, maybe we should fucking say something of substance for a second?
I did. Like, I maybe said a little bit too much of substance. Yeah. With me today is Brent.
Hello, I'm Brent.
And Josh.
Hello, I'm Josh.
Hello, Josh.
Oh, and okay, Brett.
Oh, yeah, I'm Brett's with us. Hey, we have Brent as well.
I think Josh is here today, too.
Yeah, I believe he is. And we've got some topics, right?
We do have some topics. Who should go first?
Well, since you're so eager today, Brett, why don't you take the helm?
I'm not eager.
Oh.
You want me to?
I just wanted to talk about fucking.
You getting shy after you just rambled for 5 minutes?
Hey, when you come into a girl too early and you're raw dogging and she didn't know, sometimes it's best to take a little moment of silence. Okay? And then leave as quickly as possible. Make sure she doesn't know your name. Your real name. Make sure that your phone is off. You get a new phone.
Shareware is the premier life advice column, brought to you by the guru of love, Brett.
Brett the fucker.
You should always support your love childs.
Yeah. All your childs.
All your childs.
Your childs. The children.
The childs.
Yeah.
So, are we going to list our topics? Or are we gonna...
Yeah. Should we list our topics?
Let's list our topics.
Okay, my topic will be the Inquisition Mud, or multi-user dungeon. It is roleplay intensive, and I got stories.
It's gonna be story time. It's gonna be campfire stories. Brent.
I'm gonna talk about Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go?
Pokemon Go.
Oh, that's nice.
You probably never heard of it.
No.
We can actually have you in the bathroom for that.
Oh, okay.
That's actually really helpful, because we can just leave the mic here, you can go in the bathroom and talk about Pokemon Go.
Oh.
And then we can come back and talk about big boy stuff.
Well, there might be Pokemon in the bathroom.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
They probably...
Could be a Diglett.
It's always a consideration to be made. But I think to start things off...
Wait, you didn't say yours yet.
Well, he's going to start
I'm going to say mine when we do the topic. It'll be hard to do the topic without having said what the topic is.
He's not playing along with our list thing. I think we gotta get rid of Josh.
The list is now the topic. We're blurring all lines.
We're gonna break... Do we have any walls to break?
This is a paradigm shift.
Oh, okay.
Get ready.
Speaking of... Nobody said shoats.
Shit!
Oh yeah, you
Show
fucking.
shitos.
This is what happens when you throw the script off to the side.
Yeah, here, I actually kept this in mind. I knew you guys would bring it back a little bit. If you want to skip past this, you can check the shows.
Which means show notes for new people.
Yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of new people, Josh here posted a Reddit thing. And so, literally...
I didn't realize this was going to be content.
Well, 200% of our new listen base does not know who the fuck I am.
Okay, to be fair, saying 200% makes it sound like a big deal, but going from 7 to 47 is...
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot more than 200%, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, you're right, and I'm totally in the wrong.
God.
It's about using those numbers to your advantage.
Can you imagine the ego crush it was to me to just be like, well, I wonder how the latest episode did. I wasn't on there. Wonder how good this one went. It's like 50 views. I'm like,
We're finally
How would
rid-
you feel if this one only got like 3?
We're finally
about
rid
how
of
I
the
usually
shackles.
feel.
As empty as always.
Hopeless and alone.
Alright, well, something that might make you feel a little less empty. I've got a topic.
You do have a topic.
We have a topic. We're going to talk about something today. It's going to be interesting, hopefully.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be a change.
Now I know. Now I've set myself up to fail.
Alright. I guess that I'll go ahead and start with mine while we wait for yours. Or, wait, do you want to go first?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that was
why
how
I
you set up the list.
That's why I said about
Oh.
5 times that my topic was next.
Oh, you did?
But just so that there's no confusion
Is this a bit?
whatsoever, I think Brett is like he's like the Midas of bad jokes. Like everything he bumps into turns into one. But it's also like Midas didn't turn the air into gold when he was standing in it. Brett has that extra level of functionality. So it's literally
I am breathing horrible jokes right now.
it's like a noxious
I'm
gas.
choking on like terrible puns.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm doing
he
great.
basks in it.
Like, I'm like a humidifier.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to like dig myself out of it so that I can get to my topic, which is that
What's your topic?
games that you have turned around on, which is to say,
Like
games.
360 degrees, walk away?
Yeah, like what's your best no scopes? Like you guys got any sick montages?
Fuck, I think I did at one point when I was like
Right.
12 years old playing COD 4.
Okay, how many revolutions on your quickscope?
Well, I wasn't a sniper, but I did a lot of cool AKS-74U stuff.
Okay.
That was the gun of choice for the professional COD scene.
Yeah.
It was the best SMG. You could go down sights real quick.
Yeah, respectable accuracy for the damage and rate of fire.
Yep, and like you had to get kind of close, but like the cone of fire when you weren't aiming down sights was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I like playing zombies.
That wasn't in COD 4, you fucking... Wait, no, there was a modded mode.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool modded shit in COD 4.
What I actually mean by games you've turned around on is games that you played and felt one way about, and then over the course of it, your perception drastically changed. So the game that got me thinking about this was the recent 3DS compilation game, Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix, which is kind of like a greatest hits plus some new stuff of the Rhythm Heaven series. For those of you that don't know, it's the only Nintendo franchise worth giving a shit about these days.
Yep. Pokemon Go is worthless.
Yep.
Ooh, sorry, I had a burp.
And
I'm gonna talk
I
about
would
Pokemon
never
Go.
talk about Pokemon Go on this podcast, so don't worry about that.
I'm gonna do it.
But I am a longtime fan of the series. It's by the studio that makes the WarioWare games, and it's pretty comparable. but it's
Wario?
all- Yeah, it's by Wario.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, man,
He makes great music.
I would fucking hate to play a game made by actual Mario.
He does a much better falsetto voice than you would think. 'Cause there's a lot of female.
That's exactly what I
thought. But it's all rhythm games, and they're adorable as fuck, and catchy, and great art, and all
And
that
I'm
shit.
really fucking shitty at them.
So you liked it at the beginning or the end?
I didn't like it at the beginning and actually for quite a while. So there's kind of a lot of drastic changes. They've kind of brought some like modernizations to the series in terms
Didn't
of
they
like
add grinding?
yeah. So there's a few shitty things in it. Like so previously it was kind of like almost like a Guitar Hero kind of setlist progression where you get a group of levels, you play through those levels in order, and then you unlock new levels, and you keep doing that, and then you beat the game, and you had some fun.
Yeah.
And instead they went for the system where every time you complete a level based on how well you did, you get coins. And you can spend those coins on like extras in the shop, or like other games, or every like 3 sets of stages, there are these gates that have like a rhythm challenge that you have to pass. And every time you play these rhythm challenges, you have to pay like a kind of ridiculous fee with your coins. And if you fuck it up, which like, granted, if you're good at the game, you can probably pass most of them on your first try, but I mean, mistakes happen. If you fuck them up and you're out of coins, then you just have to go back and play a bunch of the previous games that you've already played before anyway, because if you remember, this is a collection. So a lot of these games, like 80% of the games are reprised from previous titles. So this is now like my 5th time playing the fucking Monkey Clock game. And I just want to get past the coin flip challenge, but I keep running out of money. It kind of drove me fucking insane. But the real thing that got my goat was that they simplified a lot of the games.
Really?
They actually so they had the same characters and mechanics, but they wrote new music, much shorter music. Like typically the songs are like a full song's length, like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
They made like 45 or 60-second levels that have like half the mechanics of the predecessors. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why would they do this? Why would they dumb it down? And then I come to realize after the game's like second fake out ending that all of the like original real like difficult games are actually in there. They're just at the tail end.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Which the game does not surface to you at any point during the first like probably took me like 8 hours to get up to the point where you're starting to see the final content. And all this while I'm thinking like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe I spent $30 on this. This is like a shell. Like, it was literally like a shell of the former games. Just worse in every respect, in my opinion. Like, the music wasn't as catchy. The games were more simplistic in a way that made them less fun. And then I come to find that, in retrospect, it was actually a really clever thing they did, which is to make this game the perfect jumping on point for the series. Because it actually gives it a much more elegant difficulty ramp.
So it
because
builds you into it?
Yeah, you do end up getting to those difficult, challenging levels and the remixes where they take multiple games with different songs and different mechanics and compile them together into like kind of like a boss fight, which wasn't present in the first like 2/3 of the game. Suddenly, they have a ton of remixes in the end. So
nice.
All the content that I was like, where the fuck is this? What is going on? It ended up being there and then some. So
cool.
I was like really blown away because for the longest time I was like, man, I'm having a lot of fun like in the moment with this game, that every time I think about all the changes they've made, I get bummed out. And then literally every one of my issues with the game was addressed, other than the gate thing, which is still annoying, but it only happened to me once, so it's like not a huge deal.
You're over it?
Yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah,
Sure.
The difficulty thing was definitely a problem because, as Josh in particular knows, I am rhythm retarded. Like, I am fucking awful at
He
rhythm.
lives in rhythm hell.
Yes. And so I'll never forget when Josh got me the first Rhythm Heaven game for my birthday one year. And I think you were sticking around to, like, listen to me play the first level. And it was like, clank, 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 clank. And it's meant to be like,
This is...
and it's like,
I think there was a complete demonstration of your rhythm
Yeah.
in that little bit there.
yeah, exactly.
You can come to expect weekly audio Let's Plays from Brent on the show.
I will be doing every Rhythm Heaven game in a skippity bop boop boop boop.
Don't worry, there were hand motions too.
Oh yeah, lots of swiping and wiggling around. It was great.
Oh yeah, not during the skippity beep bop boop bop bop boop, but during the other part, I was gesticulating.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was wondering if you guys had any games where you turned around really hard at some points you're playing them.
For me, I would say Metal Gear Solid 2, because, like, the story of Metal Gear Solid 2 is it is something that will blow your mind when you're 12 years old and piss you off when you're 13 years old. Because, like, when you're 12, it's just like, these people are so much smarter than me. They must know what they're talking about. And then you're 13 and you're like, that was kind of fucking stupid. None of that made any fucking sense. And then, when you go back to it, and you're 22, and you see the Colonel talking about literally how the internet is today from a game like 10, 12 years ago, you're like, these guys are smarter than me. They must really know what they're doing. And then you're just, oh shit. I hated this game for so long, and it turned out I just wasn't as smart as it was. Like, the story of Metal Gear Solid 2 is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is that, like, this is one of those things where, I'm just going to say it straight up, I didn't get it until somebody just fucking explained it, and they might have been talking a load of bullshit.
Which, that's kind of always an element of the Metal Gear series, of, like, having intricate underlying themes that you need somebody who has way too much time on their hands to, like, give you an essay about it. But Metal Gear Solid 2 is like that on every level almost.
Yes.
Like, you can't have that cursory appreciation of it, at least in terms of, like, the final arc of the game where it just, like, throws the batshit in your face.
Yeah. Taps his headband, I got infinite ammo.
So did you come across some thread where someone explained it?
No, it was like a YouTube video that was 40 minutes long. Like, this was a while back. But it's just, man, fuck. Like, I'm going to have to watch it again. Like, what brought this to mind is that I saw one that was the same, but for Metal Gear Solid 5, which was 3 hours long. And I was just thinking, like, I think they must have every single cutscene in Metal Gear Solid 5 in there.
I mean, the video wouldn't even have to be an hour long for that to be the case.
God, fucking Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah. Yeah, that's a story for another game club. That's probably the one open world game that I will consider for it. But Metal Gear Solid 2, like, it has a lot of weird shit in it, but it does have a point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna need to watch that video again to remember what it was.
You touched on what I think is one of the most, like, kind of exciting parts of that game, which was, like, how fucking prescient it was about the state of the internet. Like, that game came out in 2002?
Yeah, I think that's right. 2002. It was after 9/11.
Yeah.
That's why they had to cut the Arsenal Gear stuff.
And
Brent may just be completely out of the loop.
I have no idea because I've never played Metal Gear Solid 2.
To give a little bit of context for what I'm talking about, like, they literally... Like, the game basically predicted memes and modern internet culture.
Yeah, and, like, social media.
Really?
Yes. All of it.
Yeah. Like,
to an incredible extent.
Like, it basically is kind of like an exact description of the current state of internet communications and culture. And this was like granted, the internet had been around for a while in 2002, but it was pre-Facebook, pre-MySpace even, I think, or at least at, like, the advent of MySpace.
It was probably, like, Friendster.
Yeah, and it was definitely, like, it was pre-4chan by a good few years, so
God.
It was kind of crazy just to see, like, how ahead of its time that game was.
And what was the end game of the internet? Where we had it, what did it say?
Oh, it didn't give us the end game. It just gave us kind of the current game. But it was just like, I read the speech a little bit ago, and it was like, everyone's just withdrawing into their own closed communities, dispensing what truth they've led themselves to believe, and now the world is drowning in truth, which I thought was a really good turn of phrase. And it's true. Like, you know, there are people on the internet that are, like, almost violently crusading for things that most people literally don't know about. Like the fucking Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
Like, that has been all over the internet, but if you just went down the street and asked some, like, random person, there's a good chance they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just a new Ghostbusters movie. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the fact that there's a controversy would, like, completely elude the average person.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Wait, are there people that like it?
No.
It turned out that Ghostbusters was actually just mediocre and not, like, an affront against the human species.
Yeah, and so both sides are unhappy.
Yeah, everyone loses because it's not the worst thing.
God, Ghostbusters, huh?
Yeah.
And the people who thought it was going to be good lost because they thought it was going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're buying multiple tickets because they're like, oh, well, this is a victory for feminism. And it's like, man.
This gets into a different
Even
waters.
women, this is an argument I heard. Even women can be mediocre at movies. This is empowering. And it's like, excuse me?
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's like, one, probably Paul Feig's fault. He's not, from what I've seen, he's not an excellent, film producer. He's just alright.
Yeah.
He does a lot of poop jokes. The actresses are, for the most part, are pretty fucking funny. I think. I don't know.
Metal Gear Solid 2,
Metal
man.
Gear Solid 2.
It's so weird.
Metal Gear Solid 2 predicted
completely
the all-female reboot of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Was that in there, huh?
Yeah. It was just word for word. The entire trailer.
That wasn't even during the weird part of the game. That was just during the first half
That
when
was
Raiden's
the
getting
tutorial.
pissed on.
That was the tutorial, basically.
Oh yeah, Raiden gets pissed on in Metal Gear Solid 2, but when I was a kid, I thought that was just gross, and I thought it was making him seem less cool. Because when you're 12, you think Raiden's actually cool.
Yeah.
But now I just let him sit under that golden stream until the guy's done. And I call his girlfriend on the codec and go, I'm being pissed on. She's like, you better take a shower. And I'm just like, idiot. Why would you ever do that?
So yeah, Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Metal Gear.
Game.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten my game out of the way along with the Ghostbusters controversy.
Yeah, I'm really glad we touched on that.
I did not expect that to come up during this topic of all things, but
I wonder if that'll be in the show notes, or the show notes it'll just say Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it should just say Ghostbusters in the middle.
Yo.
But I believe that Brent should have a game, yes?
I have a game. It's more on the subject of being complete. You lose interest in the game just from being so worn out of the game. I tried to play.
Oh, hold up. See if you can guess what series he's talking about just by that. Okay, go ahead.
You have 5 seconds.
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's Assassin's Creed.
Oh! I knew it.
Mac
Because we talked about it.
I was able to. I played through the first just so I could play the second, and I played the second just so I could play the third, but by the time I got to the third...
Brotherhood, specifically.
Yeah,
Brotherhood,
not Assassin's Creed
not the
3.
real third, because I never got that far.
I gave that one to Josh completely free.
I still have not put it in my PlayStation 3. I think it's been 4 years since you lent it to me.
I didn't lend it. I gave it to you. I'm not taking that game back, dude. Holy shit.
The missions, they just kind of, over time, they start to seem the same.
It's not seeming.
Yeah.
They're the same mission.
I played Syndicate, and that's basically how the game starts.
Stab a guy, you lay him down. And
yeah,
also,
some nice talk.
I was so excited with it at that point in time that I was trying to, find all the hidden clues and stuff, which made it worse.
Oh, yeah, the feathers and that kind of shit.
Or the first game when you're... there's
did
all
you-
that shit in the room.
Did anyone go and try to find all the flags in the first game?
There were achievements for it, so I'm sure somebody...
There's one guy in the middle of Indonesia who has gotten all the flags.
I've actually never played more than 30 seconds of the first Assassin's Creed, because...
I beat it.
It only took me 30 seconds to realize that I was not having fun.
Well, it's got the assassinations.
It was really novel at the
part.
time,
Yeah.
but that was the only...
Yeah, it was a very aspirational game, but that was what was cool about 2 was it kind of made good on all those aspirations. I loved 2 and I loved Brotherhood.
And then they kept making the same game.
Yeah, if I had played 1 and 2 back to back before Brotherhood, I could definitely see myself experiencing a similar thing to you, just being burnt out.
One day I feel like I should try to play Brotherhood again.
Brotherhood's actually good.
Because it's supposed to be the best one.
I would
But I burnt myself out so bad
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't finish it.
I remember when I first played Assassin's Creed 1, I had the worst computer in the world. So what I did was, I played it on 640 by 400 on the lowest settings.
Jesus.
About 20 FPS. In Accra, which was the only good city. The other ones I had about 5 to 10.
So you played Game Boy Color version?
Pretty much. And I beat the game.
What were you when you were like going through the crowds, was it just kind of like you'd stop, and you push a guy, and you stop, you push a guy?
It wasn't quite that bad. It was like watching a really old movie filmed in like, you know, like
In the reel?
With
somebody cranking it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I can live with this. I played KOTOR 2 at 5 FPS like 6 times. So.
If only it was turn-based like KOTOR.
Yeah. Even then, there was one point in KOTOR 2 where I was getting less than 1 frame per second.
Jesus.
Like, it was about 1 frame every several seconds.
Mm.
Anyway, brother. Sorry, I seem to be derailing every single fucking one.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Talking about your shitty days of your shitty computer.
Oh, man. I couldn't even run RuneScape well.
Ouch. That's a damning statement right there.
Yeah. But I tried so hard.
My computer can't run RuneScape. I'm kidding, it can. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Your computer's better than mine. We get it.
It's better than his.
For me, Hotline Miami 2 burnt me out on it within itself.
Hotline Miami 2 was not good.
It's really sad to hear about because, you know, I like the first one.
Yeah, Hotline Miami
First one's great.
1 is still among like my top 10 games of all time. Like, I think it's pretty much perfect. I don't really think there's anything I would change about it.
2 sucked.
2 was like super interesting and had a fucking great soundtrack, possibly even better than the first. As somebody who listens to both, like outside of playing the game, like just like having those jams playing in my car.
Sick jams, bro.
Yeah. Fat beats and all. But God, the level design just got so fucking grueling, like about a third of the way through.
It was just windows and like fat guys and guys with
Giant
guns.
hallways that you can't see all the
I
way
hate
down.
fat guys in Windows.
Yeah, fuck fat people.
Oh man, you would love Hotline Miami 2.
Just because you get to shoot fat guys in Windows?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the gameplay mechanics of 1. I thought you were actually bringing something fucking coherent to the discussion.
I don't have anything coherent for this discussion. All I have to offer is I hate fat guys in Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome to your own personal hell.
Okay.
But I still...
Fat guy, Windows.
I still have not beaten Hotline Miami 2. I'm like halfway. I think I'm a little over halfway through it, but it's one of those things that like I say I'm gonna go back to someday, but I don't know, man. Like, it's such a bummer because once again, like just like knocked it out of the park in terms of the style and presentation, and like they had some intriguing concepts going on in
like
the
the
story.
pacifist guy.
Oh, and like the kind of like meta narrative about the fans' interpretation of the first game and that kind of thing, I thought was interesting.
Oh, is it a fan of the first game? Is that the...
Well, so like a lot of the characters in 2 are people that are like they kind of worship the protagonists of the first game, and it's kind of like an allegory for people who got really into the characters of the first game that played it.
Okay.
But like it's about like hero worship and that kind of thing. There's like some interesting concepts in it that video games don't touch on really often, but I could not fucking put up with how just like aggressively just fucking brutal that game got.
Josh?
Yeah?
You want to know what happens at the end, or all that interesting story stuff goes?
Not really, because I do still plan on playing it.
It got very silent there.
Well, that ruins my bit.
Your headphones are still working.
Were you just gonna give me a joke response?
No.
Oh.
Well
then
I
that
guess
does ruin
that's
your
the
bit.
end of that conversation.
So,
that was fun.
in lieu of Brett's bit...
no, I think I'm done.
That should just be the show.
Yeah.
In lieu of Brett's bit.
That could be the subtitle.
Shareware, in lieu of Brent's bit.
Ooh, that sounds like we're going back to the raw dog.
Yeah, you want to use a different tone with Brett's bit.
Alright, fine.
In lieu of Brett's bit.
Alright. In lieu of Brett's bit, let's hear Brett's topic.
My topic is one that is going to interest 2 people, maybe, and not these 2. I'm talking possibly 2 people in the audience somewhere.
Possibly 2?
Possibly 2.
On a good day.
Maybe,
You know who
maybe
you are.
1, likely 0. It's not impossible for it to
Let's just pretend like there's 2 out there, so everyone out there thinks that at least someone's listening.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Alright, so my topic is a MUD, or multi-user dungeon, called the Inquisition.
What's a multi-user dungeon?
I'm glad you asked. A multi-user dungeon is a text-based game where you play with multiple other people in a world that doesn't necessarily have to be a dungeon. There are also other ones, and they are called collectively MUs with an asterisk at the. There are multi-user shared hallucinations called mushes, and those don't usually have gameplay. And then there's a bunch of other shit I'm not going to bother you with. Anyway, this one is cool because it's roleplay intensive. It is absolutely enforced. You gotta be in character the whole fucking time you're on that bitch.
So no ASL?
No ASL. You're not... I mean, you can fuck in the game, but I always make my characters really ugly or really old.
Okay.
So then they don't get fucked. Then that's good. You're not
it's a way to
supposed
live your life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Be ugly and old.
My first character is Jamis Grunsky. And this is in a world full of people who are like, Nathaniel Ab Hornfoot. Or, you know, like, all these fucking pompous names.
Yeah.
And then you're just, like, looking down the list of current players. And it's like, Elysium de Cornfield.
Okay. I'm gonna let you pick up with
sure.
a bit, but I just want on record that you really need to brush up on your posh names before you
Cornfield.
retread this comedic ground. Because cornfields are not exactly the most pristine.
Well, no,
fucking...
but I don't know. Maybe they're noble because their cornfields are so big, man.
the cornfield state.
That could be true.
All right.
You don't know.
So,
I'm Sir Cornfield.
And then your name is
Jamis Grunsky.
Yeah,
that's...
Jamis Cornfield.
And so everyone in this game, like, the one problem I have with it, like, most of the characters are cool, but they're all very nice people.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. No, it does, because then what the fuck happens? We all sit in a bar complimenting each other. So what I made is I made a 5'3", when everyone else is like 6 feet tall, I made a 5'3" drunk man with warts all over his face. When most people make their appearance like 5 stars, he's like 1 star. He's like a gutter gremlin, and he just goes around getting drunk, killing rats, going into bars covered in rat gore, just like carrying their corpses. And he's like, "Hey, everyone!" He's like very friendly.
Is this Danny DeVito?
Yes, his.
Okay.
Like, I literally had, like, you know the Always Sunny episode where they're like, it's like the gang cracks the Liberty Bell? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture of Frank Reynolds from that as my character picture.
Yeah.
And so, like, and he, like, the thing is he's very friendly, he's very nice. But he's also a huge drunk, and he will just start shit with terrible people. Like, say there's the Grand Inquisitor of the whole realm, and he walks into a bar, and Jamis is like, "Well, I'm gonna leave." And the Grand Inquisitor, the person who can burn anyone he fucking wants, if he decides that there's a reason to. And Jamis is like, "Get out of the way, idiot!" Like, it's a really fun way to both, one, skip any awkward situations where people might want to have sex with you in character, because that is, I've never understood how people can do that without it feeling really weird for them. Because, like, they have kids and shit in the game, and I'm just like, how do you agree on this? You just, like, have an OSC contract, just, like, out of character contract, just, like, so we fucked. Let's not make this weird, but we definitely fucked. And now we were going to have a kid. But it's not weird. Like, I don't know how that works. I don't know how you can do that with, like, a straight face.
It's certainly not something I would do.
Yeah, like, you don't roleplay the sex. You just fade to black.
Yeah.
But it's just...
You know.
So
is there, like, any kind of moderation or, like GM equivalent? Or
yes.
Okay, so it's not just, like, a free-form in-character chat room.
No, you're going around, like, your characters have skills and shit. Like, I'm being considered for staff right now for some insane reason. Probably because I'm the only one willing to play a short, fat man in this world full of gorgeous people. But, you know, like, if you like MUDs, I would say give it a try. If you Google TI Legacy or the Inquisition Legacy, don't do what I do. Sometimes I'll just Google the Inquisition thinking it'll bring that up.
And does it come up with no one expected the Spanish Inquisition?
No, it comes up with the Inquisition, Brent.
Oh.
The real Inquisition that killed thousands of people, Brent.
It doesn't come up with the Monty Python sketch.
No, it does
second
not.
Or third.
No.
You sure second or third? Because I'm
I mean, maybe, maybe
it
actually.
probably comes up second or third.
People died.
And
Today and yesterday, probably tomorrow. And,
Yeah.
And also in the Inquisition.
Yes.
Oh, and people die all the time in the mud as well.
What's the player count in the game you're running?
It's like 40 or 50.
Okay.
Which, like, for a mud is pretty spectacular. Like, the
For a
oldest
mud.
one, I believe, probably has like 200 or 300. But that's all pay-to-win shit. And I cannot think of a single sadder thing to do than pay-to-win in a text-based game.
How would that even work?
You just pay them and you get more XP. You get stat points.
That's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I think it used to be cool. It used to be that you could ascend to godhood by a result of your actions, and then you would be a god and a deity within the game world.
Okay.
And like you would have your own celestial plane and shit, and like people could worship you.
Oh, you don't have one of those in this world?
No, there's only one. Oh yeah, I should probably get this out of the way. This game was made about 25 years ago, and it's gone through a lot of iterations. This is the most recent one. Somebody decided that the lord of the religion should be named Dav. Like Dave without the E.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who. Probably a guy named Dave, but that's a really, really fucking stupid name for a deity. Oh, Lord Dav, I beseech you. Please, get me a corner office.
So you say people who like muds should check it out, but for the other like 98% of us who either don't or have no experience with them whatsoever, do you think this is like a good introduction to the genre, or
how do
not?
I become mud?
All right, here's what you need if you really want to give this a shot. 1, you need to like role playing. 2,
Like role playing in the tabletop sense, am I right?
yes, role playing in the tabletop sense, maybe even role playing in the sex sense. I don't know what they allow you to get away with on this server. But like you gotta really want to role play. You gotta want to make a character. You don't need to have an entire concept laid out, but you need to be willing to just read up on the world. Because, like, for example, I have notes on the courtesies you're supposed to show nobles.
So that you can defy all of them?
Pretty much. But, like, you know, like, if you're in a social occasion, not just hanging out in a bar, and you don't follow one of those rules, the noble will icily, in character, be like, are you fucking insulting me?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you? And then they can just fucking whip the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be ready to read a lot of bullshit. But it's fun. So, you know, once you get out of that, it's a really good time. But I would say that out of all the people listening to this, even if we had 4,000 listeners, I would say maybe 10 of them would get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like you're trying to you have to get into like the lore of a book, you know?
Oh, it's longer than a book.
Oh, longer
Maybe.
than a book.
Well, you don't need to read
Well,
that
I'm
much.
not playing the mud.
You don't need to read that much to get into it. I'm just making it sound very scary so that the few who are really interested will be like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I
And really,
thought.
it's actually just completely accessible.
No. It is absolutely not that.
It's the Pokemon Go of muds.
No. Speaking of Pokemon Go...
Yeah, there's this Little Herd game out there, Little Herd of Game. I don't know, have you guys heard of it?
No, because you haven't said what the fuck it is
It's
yet.
floating around. It's Pokemon Go.
I've heard mutterings in the dark alleys.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure now this is like a complete opposite because there's probably like 2 people listening that haven't been playing it,
And they're the
and
ones
they're
that
probably
play
you too.
Yeah.
It's for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's a augmented reality game of Pokemon where you go catch Pokemon in the real world.
And you get to make friends and
Well, you
probably-
don't
probably
really
have
make
sex.
friends. You really just kind of pass people on the street and you go, "Hey, are you playing Pokemon Go?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm playing Pokemon Go." Are you?
I've heard of people getting mad sex out of this because they're hanging out with hot gamer girls.
I think
sex.
I think the extent of it has been like driving past someone who was playing Pokemon Go and saying, "Hey, are you on Team Instinct?" Which is one of the teams, and they
Are
say,
you
"Yeah,
Team Instinct?
yeah."
The only person who's fucking you is Nintendo.
Really,
Yeah.
that's that's where it's probably going.
I have something to say about Nintendo,
Okay.
but I'll wait.
Do you want to wait until?
I'll wait until you're done with your bit.
Okay. My bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your bit.
This
Because
is
you're a
bit to you?
joke.
Because I'm touching Brett.
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
bad
true.
joke.
You've been Midas. I don't remember making that.
So
noise.
it's not like the the regular game of Pokemon that we all know and love, because you don't
I don't like Pokemon.
get to fight the Pokemon you encounter before you catch them. You just kind of catch them, level up your player.
But you get to tap and flick.
You do get to tap and flick,
Oh, are we back to sex talk?
and
Yeah.
it's very fun to start chasing down Pokemon, trying to figure out which direction they went, and you're kind of wandering around like an idiot.
Taking over
looking at your
highways, blocking off highways, shooting off flares to let people know where a Mewtwo is. That's real.
Brett, I don't believe this happened.
You can fucking Google it, man.
I will Google
I
it.
was told by a friend of a friend that happened, so if you want to try and dispute that, like, you can go ahead.
There's a lot of rumors out there about what's going on with Pokemon Go.
It probably happened in Rio.
Some of them about the CIA tracking people.
I mean, they do that all the time. It's
Yeah,
a
it's-
act.
Yeah, this game has been a weird, progenitor of an excess of conspiracy theories, which doesn't really make sense to me because they're all basically just they're using Pokemon Go to send you to shady locations so they can monitor you. They're throwing you in front of the CCTV networks, and it's you do realize the game that you're playing this, or the device you're using to play this game, is GPS connected, internet connected, has
It has
a
a
microphone,
camera and a
has
microphone.
has a
Yeah.
thumbprint reader a lot of times. If they wanted to take fucking data from you, they didn't need to install Pokemon Go to do so. They were using Facebook.
Yeah, I'm kind of operating under the assumption that if the government wants to know who I am and wanted dirt on me, they'd already have it.
Yeah, Pokemon
Well, they
Go.
got plenty of dirt on you.
And I'm not saying oh fuck, get in a bunker, burn your phones and shit like that. But if you are the kind of person that is paranoid about that shit, then
You're already
should've-
caught.
Yeah, you're
It's
fucking
too late.
done.
It's too late.
Pokemon Go is not the fucking straw that broke the camel's back. The spine has been shattered for 5 years.
You've been being ground into the dirt without even knowing it. Your body is just this
what-
limp
So,
sack of
I didn't
meat.
actually. I kind of just heard that people were worried about pictures being taken and tracking where you went, which I mean
That's
already a problem. But I hadn't heard about people thinking they were being sent to different places.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that another.
That's a really
whole
weird
level?
one that I've seen. Is people claiming that the Pokemon are being spawned in locations that they find easier to track or something, or they're sending you to spaces that there's some conspiracy that they curate the Pokemon spawn points to get people to go places that they want them to go. And
strange.
it's shit.
Why-
The man wants me to go to fucking Starbucks where there's a gym.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
if
they-
anything, it's
they are
probably
selling,
corporate.
They are selling stuff like that. Let me try and not be retarded for a second. It takes a lot of effort. Companies are trying to buy high profile Pokemon to have at their stores.
Well, yeah, and there's also there's Pokestops where you stop and get Pokeballs. You can stop at a Pokestop every 10 minutes or so, I think, and you click on them and you get Pokeballs.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see maybe companies purchasing those, and that would be something that would draw people to the location.
Yeah,
And there's also a lot of front end stuff of I've seen diners with signs in their store that's if you show us that you've used a lure which creates more a higher spawn rate in that area, you demonstrate to us that you've used a lure in our restaurant, we'll take $2 off your order.
ooh,
Yeah,
that's
shit like
capitalism,
that.
baby.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I'm not gonna say I disapprove.
It makes sense,
I would order something that costs $2.
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
Taco
I guess
Bell,
the
baby.
real
Yeah, I don't think Taco Bell's doing this. I
What?
don't think franchises are allowed to run promotions like that necessarily.
That'd be fucking cool.
I guess the main reason I wanted to talk about it is just this is the biggest AR game there's been, I believe.
Yeah,
this is the biggest.
Ingress is depressed now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this is quite literally a Pokemon skin for Ingress.
Yeah.
all the locations that they've used as like default points for gyms and Poke Centers and that kind of thing were crowdsourced by the players of Ingress, where they had the community determine like points of interest in the game. So they've literally just used Ingress as like a tool to make designing Pokemon Go easier and more profitable.
I mean, the game has
God, it's been really profitable for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
what
was
did
that?
you had a stat, Brent?
Yeah.
Back when this was your topic.
Yeah, you stole my topic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But this is really worrying to me. But Nintendo's share prices have gone up 38%.
Jeez.
But since Pokemon Go's inception.
And it's been a
Since
week?
last Friday, I want to say.
Thursday, I think.
Thursday? Yeah, I didn't start playing until
It's $9 billion.
Saturday.
$9 billion.
You know,
So, and I guess sidetrack for a second, but like I don't actually know, what are the microtransactions?
they're pretty few. You buy coins, of course, because you don't directly buy things. And the coins are, I mean, they go all the way up to like $100 worth of coins you can buy. But
best value.
really, the only things you can buy. I think they were adding things.
I'm sure they'll
talk
talk
about
about
it.
more stuff for you to
Talking
buy.
out of my ass here, but
What do you know that
they have Pokeballs.
Okay.
They have you can buy incense. You can buy which incense attract Pokemon to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy the lures, which you stick on a Pokestop and it attracts Pokemon for everybody around. So it just increases the spawn rate near that place.
And it gets you great deals on eggs and bacon.
Yeah, it gets you $2 off your order at your local Perkins. I don't know if Perkins would do it.
I don't know.
Your local spot where they spit in your food.
Yep.
But there's like a couple other things, but it's really not that much. But I feel like as time goes on, they're gonna move more into the pay to win sort of thing.
Well,
That seems like where it would go.
first they need to like have something for you to win.
Right.
Because there's like barely a game to it right now.
Well, I mean, you can
There's
go to
the
Westboro
gyms.
Church and put up a Clefairy that says "Love is love," because Westboro's a gym.
Yeah, that's great.
Westboro's been
kinda-
really pissed off about that.
I can imagine.
They're putting up a lot of Pokemon Go propaganda. I highly suggest.
You know,
taking a
that's
look.
another
What is the most
interesting thing.
homophobic Pokemon that they could use to counter?
Literally, there's a picture of Pikachu with "God hates fags"
That's
right next to it.
Of course.
That's kind of funny though, because when you think about augmented reality, right? It's not your property, is it? When you're sticking something on someone else's property,
No, it's yours. It's
Like-
augmented.
it's augmented off your property, but like the gym that's on their property where they're putting stuff
It's
up.
an ethereal concept. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
It's augmented.
I can't
You
tell
win.
if you're trying to joke or what.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
He's
I'm
saying
trying to say there's
like
this-
there's not a, like how is there an argument to be made that like Westboro could like take legal action against Nintendo for creating an avenue by which like they're luring the player base into their property and like encouraging people to patronize them.
Like at a certain point,
Yeah.
like the gyms, if somebody built a gym on top of, like they didn't build it because it's augmented, but they put a gym at my house's location.
And then you've got dozens of people like coming up to your front door to like catch shit all the time and like do battles and stuff like that. Like that could be like a significant detrimental impact.
Well, I mean, something like that's been happening to someone much more important than the Westboro Church. It's been happening to the Holocaust Museum.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody found a coughing there. The poison gas Pokemon.
Yeah, great. But like that's like
Okay.
I feel like that's an
Awkward.
even better example. Is like places with actual.
I feel like it should
legitimacy.
definitely be an opt-in thing.
Yeah, like
Like, it shouldn't just be like, you're a big building,
But
there
see-
you go.
there's a kind. I guess there's like a level of sanctity to the fucking Holocaust Museum that
Yeah.
like
And
I
then
feel
you have
like
all these fucking 12-year-old kids running around, I want to find a
Well,
gas
you
leak.
know, I guess like a lot of, I mean, I finish what you were gonna say. I'll say.
Well, I mean, I mostly said it just like, I feel like there should be a certain level of respect for places like that. Like, it's a little bit disrespectful for that to be the focus in a place that is supposed to be about like respecting one of the greatest tragedies of the human species.
Like, another thing is I've heard graveyards have a lot of like Pokestops because they're at every memorial, basically.
Yeah.
So there's people just tromping around graveyards.
Yeah.
Looking for hauntings.
Yeah, that's... But the question is, like, at what point did it... Like, it's your property, but can people put something digital on your property?
Yeah.
That's just laid over top.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's kind of a question I thought about, and then I thought it was, like, a stupid question until you start thinking about these. Like, when I was first saying it, I was, like, as a joke, I'm like, oh, you know, like... It's my property. Why should they be able to put something there? But when you think about it, there's actually some implications to it.
Well, I feel like it's kind of like it's kind of like the digital parallel to the like ongoing like drone discussion of like drones have become so commonplace now that it's like the legislation is so far behind because all the current legislation about like how much of the airspace above your home you own was designed around airplanes. And now that you have like really small, accessible, highly maneuverable devices that like can be bought at like consumer entry-level prices, suddenly all these laws are obsolete to where like people can be sending like theoretically could have like spy camera drones flying over your property and like looking in your fucking skylight and shit like that.
Cool.
So cool. Like that's been a big source of contention for people with like the kind of like castle doctrine sort of like hold your home people.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to see like mostly because of just how prolific Pokemon Go is. Like everybody's fucking doing it. Like, does that then get to the point where it's actually a consideration that has to be made?
Like, this is, I mean, I think it's one of those things where this is like the first real augmented reality game. There could be, I mean, there's another, the first like
one
highly
reached mass
trained-
appeal.
The first one people give a shit
the
about.
first one
Yeah.
a lot of people have heard about, I guess. But like, at what point does this happen more? Or like, do you have more instances of not even augmented reality games, but augmented reality? I don't even know yet.
Yeah.
All right.
There could be.
Well, here's the thing: is you guys are being very mature about this, and you guys have an actual thesis. I'm worried that Nintendo's going to become shitty.
Yeah.
They made $9 billion in a week off a free-to-play game that has no gameplay.
Well, and also, like, if you're looking at it from the perspective of Nintendo becoming shitty, really they made $9 billion off of licensing one of their titles. Like, they didn't do this.
Yeah.
This was a pre-established mobile game company that just got the license for Pokemon and made it for them.
Yeah, but the thing I'm thinking is, like, Konami stopped doing, like, Konami kicked Kojima out because they were making so much more money on Pachinko.
Yeah, they had no reason to put up with video game bullshit.
Exactly. And, like, Nintendo, people are all like, oh, Nintendo's all about video games. It's like, well, it started out as a board game company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were heavily into that for a long time and then switched to video games. So they adapt better than most every other company. Who's to say they're not going to adapt to this?
And specifically with Japanese companies, that's like a huge factor. Like Sony sells fucking home insurance and that kind of thing. Like all the major players in the video game industry, as far as I know, like pretty much all the like AAA level players in the video game industry in Japan have like other facets to their corporations that are like in like the housing department and that kind of thing. Like completely out there, like not even remotely related to video games. So like Konami, who was into like electronic gambling, like that's almost like the closest those companies are to video games in their outside businesses.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, man, I'm worried that Nintendo's just going to be like, okay, well, Iwata's already dead. We just got to wait for Miyamoto to kick the bucket, and then we can just be Pokemon Go 2, Pokemon Go 5000.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like, what about
Pokemon Go,
if we
Animal
do Zelda
Crossing.
Go, and you
Animal
can
Crossing
fight...
Go,
Oh, shit.
which would make the most sense.
Yeah, that would be fucking good. I think they're actually doing that. They're
They
doing
do have an
mobile.
Animal Crossing mobile game in development, they've said.
Fuck.
But we don't know if
Interesting.
it's going to be in the augmented reality space or what. Because, like, Mitomo, their first venture into
I just remember
mobile games.
Mega 64.
Yeah. that didn't really have any augmented reality stuff. It was almost kind of like a kind of budding social network.
Yeah, it went all right.
But yeah, I definitely I'm picking up what you're laying down. Like, there's kind of a concern about them like resting on their laurels when they have this cash cow.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can make this really awesome game, or we can just wait for Pokemon Go to make us another $15 million.
Yeah,
or billion.
And it's an even bigger concern when you account for the fact that like the Wii U, from like a core gaming standpoint, has been largely a flop.
Yeah.
Like, it would be one thing if this was like the GameCube era and they're like doing really well on like Wind Waker and Pikmin and that kind of thing, but like nobody's fucking buying the Wii U anymore. Like, that system is really quickly on its way out.
And everyone's buying Pokeballs.
Yep.
Like, the NX is probably, well, we're not going to say probably, but there's a possibility that if Pokemon Go continues expanding like this, maybe the NX will be the last console that has a real chance with Nintendo. So I'm going to buy one.
Yeah, like they were very reluctant to get into the mobile space because they're so protective of their titles. But I guess now there's, like, from a business standpoint, there's an argument to be made that, like,
investors are going to be fucking salivating.
Well, yeah, there's an argument to be made that it's more detrimental to their brands to stick with consoles than it is to just find a way to port all of them over to mobile in some fashion or another.
Yeah, like Mario Infinite Runner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of like really easy direct analogs that could be made with like
future
with genres that we already know are successful on mobile, and like it's the common issue of the mobile game space where like only the top like 0.0001% get any awareness, and then there's like a billion knockoffs of every game. So like, you know, Candy Crush does well, and then you have a billion more Bejeweled clones. But those Bejeweled clones, even if they have like really interesting mechanics or they do something like innovative within the space, they don't get any awareness because they're not called Candy Crush. Nintendo already has a name that people know about.
Yeah.
So they skip that whole issue entirely. They're like, they kind of like have a front row seat on the sales charts.
They do whatever they want.
Pretty much. So
they will.
Yeah, I could definitely see maybe a few years from now people are wondering like why the NX is even a thing, because their mobile games are like so fucking popular.
So Nintendo, we know you're listening.
Yeah. Are they? Miyamoto, come on, man.
Have a heart.
Do what's right.
Do the right thing.
Stay true to your fans.
Kill Reggie.
I say this as somebody who really doesn't play Nintendo games anymore.
I play some. So
Unless it's on my phone.
To be
Bayonetta
fair,
2, my favorite Nintendo game.
To be fair, on the like complete opposite end of this, like to call back to our E3 episode, the new Zelda looks
fucking good.
Huge fucking step in a really interesting and new direction for the series.
One with the lower FPS than I'd like, but hopefully it's just a beta.
Yeah, but like before, like just like a month ago when we were talking about that, like this whole issue wasn't even on my mind. So it's weird that they kind of have like both ends of the spectrum going on right now, and it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
I hope they just use all the mobile game money to just make better real games.
Yeah, that's kind of the dream, is like you use commercially successful products to fund like compelling art.
Yeah.
But
why would they when
you don't have to if you could just fund more commercially successful products?
Because
that's
how it works.
Yeah. It really comes down to like how much the people that are like still in higher up positions like Miyamoto like care about the actual minutia of the work as opposed to the numbers.
Yeah.
I just hope the investors aren't very
I mean,
powerful.
The thing is, though, to establish names like that, you need to create stuff that people are willing to get into. You know?
Yeah, the only reason Pokemon Go is what it is because
everybody knows Pokemon.
Based on the games that have been around for a long time and they've put a lot of effort into.
Yeah.
Well, you could also say that people know it because of the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, the cartoon was a huge thing when I was a kid. Like, the games were definitely more important, but...
Yeah. I guess the only thing I would say is, like, and I don't have the answer to this, but, like, where which one feeds into the other more. Like, did the card games and TV show benefit from the game more, or vice versa? Like, I honestly,
I always kind of thought of the game as like the
center
of it. But that's maybe because I played the game more than I watched the show.
I like video games a lot, so of course I'm gonna say like, the video game was the main thing to me.
I was really into the show.
But I know, a lot of people really liked the show.
The show lent context to what was going on in the game for me, and I was like, holy shit, that's the girl from the Pokemon.
Yeah. See, when I was still playing Pokemon, I didn't give a shit about context, so that was my thing.
I was so shitty at... I didn't know it was possible to be bad at Pokemon until I thought back to my first Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Literally all you have to do to win a Pokemon game is use one Pokemon the whole time, and you will kill everything in one hit. Mm-hmm. Somehow as a kid, I was just like, I gotta use strategy here.
And then you ended up using awful strategy?
Yep. I beat the Elite Four by constantly just grinding against them until my Venusaur was about level 90.
Oh, you were grinding against them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were elite, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
all four of them.
And then the cards were like the gateway drug to Magic: The Gathering.
No, I play good games.
God, we're not going to talk about Magic: The Gathering.
And on that note,
just saying it's a gateway.
That'll be the end of our first fuck it segment.
Yeah.
First segment of the three segments.
So this is going to be Brett's last week on the show.
Yeah, it was nice hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we are going to take a quick break and then come back with the game club.
I'm going to drink some water because I'm overheated.
I'm really warm in here.
Yeah, we're going to crank the fan back on once the mic is off so that we can cool off for a second without ruining your eardrums.
So, yeah.
We're going to look forward to that. You can not look forward to that because it doesn't affect you.
I mean, if you got a fan in your room, you want to turn it
on. I wouldn't mind if you turned your fan on.
Jet Set Radio!
Sometimes it looks so mad. Guys in town, the guys in town, and everybody's talking about him. Won't you play the damn song to make me strong? You will sing, I will make it if I do. Take me to the power, get out of the corner. Take me to the border, I will make it as they do. See them run about the town. I can hear them all sing. Do-wop-do-wop, listen to the music. Do-wop-do-wop-do. Do-wop-do-wop, listen to the music. Do-wop-do-wop-do. Yes! They have changed the same old scene.
Hey, welcome back. See, now I can't because you guys are just fucking... I tried to fucking start the show for a minute and 27 seconds, and these guys would not fucking shut their goddamn mouths.
Hey man, you're the one who was a gulp freak.
Gulp. Whoa.
So this is the game club. For those of you new to the show, the game club is very much like the concept of a book club, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's a pretty universal concept.
Book club?
Book club, Brent, is where you read a book. Which you
Brent's
clearly
never done that.
I've never read a book. Otherwise you'd know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know what a book club is, Josh.
Good.
I'm a good person.
Well, then I only have to explain to you what a game club is.
Well, what's a game?
A game is video that you touch with your soul.
No, but what is a game, really?
We talked about that last time.
I know, we did that the whole episode last time.
Oh, good. I'm going to be honest, I skipped that. I didn't hear it.
But what we actually did is we set aside the first chapter of Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio!
The seminal bizarre, cel-shaded skating graffiti game on the Sega Dreamcast.
Jet Set Radio.
You guys got any more in you? Any more?
Jet Set Radio. I got one really good one left. I'm gonna wait till the end.
Okay.
I'm gonna save up my power.
Okay. We'll wrap up with that. But for now, we're just gonna say Jet Set Radio in our normal voices,
which is
hard.
So.
I don't know why he's laughing.
I don't know. You guys have the biggest dumb grins on your faces, and I don't.
I'm still thinking about how this led in.
Oh my
Yes.
god! You guys ruined. We'll never be able to record an episode of this show again without you guys just going. But I'm just gonna start because otherwise we'll never fucking get out of this. You fucking inbred mongrels.
Hey, that's my thing. I call people inbred.
You invented inbreeding, yeah. Well, your parents did. So you feel a little bit of ownership over it.
Incest.
Yeah, it is.
So the game starts with what is like the Assassin's Creed intro of graffiti, which is to say that there's like a big there's a big essay at the front that is like graffiti is art.
Oh, I see.
But
I
vandalism.
thought we were talking the start of like the story in the game.
No, like literally, you turn on the game and it's just a black screen with white text and a spray can with a cross through it, and it's like the Assassin's Creed intro.
Graffiti is art, but don't do it.
Yeah, vandalism is a crime, and Sega does not promote the act.
You should only do graffiti where the police say you can.
Yeah,
What was the Assassin's Creed one was like?
Ubisoft is a studio comprised of a variety of people of different ethnicities, religions, countries of origin, and we've combined all of our various perspectives to create this game about killing the Pope. Whereas this is a game made by people who don't condone graffiti or vandalism, but
it might
all
be kind of cool.
Yeah, all you do is avoid militarized police as you run people over as with briefcases and suits, and so that you can spray paint.
Bust through their homes.
Yeah, that mission was cool.
Yeah.
What?
No, I said yeah.
I thought you said nah.
Well, I did have problems with it. But
Okay, yeah. We're gonna have some. I feel like this game club is gonna have some.
We may have differing opinions.
It's gonna have tones of Mirror's Edge, I feel. In good ways and bad.
Yeah.
Because this game kind of reminded me a lot of Mirror's Edge in good ways and bad. But it starts off, you can do a tutorial.
Yes, and
the menu there's a new game option, and then right below it there's a tutorial. So naturally I'm like, oh, well this is an old game. It came out in 2000. And,
probably have to do the tutorial.
They didn't really standardize a lot of shit. Maybe there's no tutorial in the campaign. So I'll click on the tutorial. And it is like the most dry, long, drawn-out bullshit of press A to jump.
Yeah, but the thing is that it also scales up into some stuff that is genuinely difficult.
Yeah, the tutorial ends with a 40 move combo.
40? I got to 10 and I couldn't do it.
I got stuck on the 10 for a while, but I did end up doing it, and after that I fucking quit. The tutorial is weird because if you just play the game, there's a tutorial in the game.
Yeah, it fucking tells you
So
way
I
better.
skipped the tutorial, and then I did new game, and when it started, it starts with the gum and tab challenges, and I'm like, so there was a tutorial
in the game.
I thought that it just did the tutorial for me anyway, and I didn't know what the shit was that you guys went through.
Yeah, and I was thinking okay, well maybe the tutorial is in case you play the game for a while and then you take a break and you come back months later and you don't want to start a new game, so the tutorial is just the thing at the beginning of the game pulled out, set aside in the menu, but it's a different tutorial.
Yeah.
The tutorial in the main game is just more elegant and faster paced.
And it actually expects you to not be good at the game.
Yeah.
Whereas the real tutorial, I'm going to be honest, in the entire time I played this game, the highest combo I ever got was 30. And if it asks you to do 40 in the tutorial, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I did not finish the tutorial, but
Maybe it's just a trick, and if you
I
completely
guess
get something,
it's like we'll lure new players into doing this and thinking that this is like the bare minimum expectation of the game.
Yeah.
And it turns out like none of the game asks that of you.
Yeah, and then maybe it gives you like a new challenger or something. That'd be kind of cool.
But so in the actual game's tutorial, you meet Gum and Tab, who with you Boost comprise the GGs, which is the new up and coming gang.
Wiki.
Yeah, the new gang faction. I guess I could just
okay.
say gang. That's a little bit redundant, but
Yeah.
the only reason I say that is because all of the major groups thus far in the game are all different competing gangs.
And they're all pretty fucking cool. Like, I like all the movement in this game. Where,
Yeah.
like, everyone's got their own theme, and they, like, kind of, jerk around to the movement of their theme.
Yeah,
Like,
so
they jerk to the
They
beat.
pop and drop.
They pop and drop.
yeah, the GGs are like, if you've ever seen any of the promotional material of the game, it's mostly focused on their style. It's like the quintessential quirky Japanese interpretation of 90s hip hop culture, which is kind of this whole game, and it's pretty fucking delightful.
Yeah.
Like, this game is basically 80s and 90s hip hop through the lens of early 2000s experimental corporate Japanese video game development, which is the most bizarre perspective. And
But it fucking works.
It's a real
it's a
style.
Yeah, and it's a good looking fucking game, surprisingly, because this, like I said, this was maybe not the first cell shaded game, but certainly the game that exposed the masses to the concept of cell shaded graphics.
Well, the masses who managed to get a Dreamcast because they were expensive as shit. If
I mean,
right.
this is the masses within. They weren't really
masses with a lowercase m.
Yeah, it was
perhaps?
the masses within the context of 2000, the year 2000 video game market, which was a fraction of what it is now.
It was better.
But Jet Set Radio is a game that you can bring up in groups of people that are into games, and it'll be commonly known. And it was the first of its kind to have this art style, which is usually you see cell shading as an analog to comic book art because it has that kind of hand-drawn look. But I think it actually is even more applicable within the concept of graffiti. Everything has that really saturated spray paint look to it.
Yeah.
And
including the graffiti.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
And it, of course, it's rough around the edges visually. So basically anything that has an actual texture to it looks pretty janky, the people's faces, that kind of thing. But
I've noticed some problems with loading zones where I'll be running around and then all of a sudden part of the backdrop will just open up to an actual part of the level.
Yeah, so that anytime there's an exit, I see a little bit of pop-in. And then there's a couple times where there are tunnels and that kind of thing where they don't render in advance. But for the most part, I mean, it's an old game, so it's not saying anything crazy to be this game runs at 60 FPS and the resolution is good and stuff. But it is something. It is kind of a testament to the general cohesive style that this isn't a game that I think looks good with with an asterisk in the corner. I just think this game fucking looks good, and it came out in 2000, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it looks different enough that it's enjoyable to
Yeah.
If it had the same some of the same problems and it didn't have the same style, I'd probably be eh.
Yeah. It's definitely a
Style
game.
saves it.
Yeah, I'm finding that when I'm not feeling the gameplay, which happens. The music and the art and personality kind of carry me through that time.
I really like the song where he's talking about those guys.
Those guys?
Those guys.
You said that the other day, and I still don't know what the fuck part you're talking about. I listened to the whole song, and I'm like...
The noise tanks?
What?
No, there's a lyric, I guess, about those guys, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's those guys going around town. Sometimes they think they're mad. Something.
All right.
I don't know, man. It's a popular fucking... I linked it.
I listened to the song, but I couldn't figure out what the fuck you were talking about.
Maybe I linked the wrong one. I don't know.
I don't know. But regardless, that's you guys will hear that song listening. Because I'll put that in the break, so you'll already know what the fuck I'm talking
I'm
about.
gonna make sure I got the right one. Because
But yeah, so aside from the GGs, there are also the noise tanks, who are kind of like this
I like them
techno
a lot.
fetishist group. They've all got like aluminum armor and stuff, and like these weird helmets that
They kind of look like out of Mad Max.
They're like cyborgy kind of.
they're all hackers, of course, because
Cause a blackout.
Hackers.
yeah, because why wouldn't they be? And then there is Poison Jam, the like kaiju monster movie obsessed gang, and they all wear like plastic dinosaur masks and stuff.
They stomp around.
Yeah, they've all got like a distinctive breakdance style to them. And then there are the Love Shockers, who are
Kinda look like roller derby.
yeah, roller derby kind of vibe. A bunch of like tall, skinny, redheaded women with kind of an attitude.
Got like
I also
paint around their eye.
Yeah,
An
dark
eye. Yeah.
black makeup and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to say like this all takes place in Tokyoto, which
Yeah.
is a really good name.
I don't really understand. They just call it Tokyo for short,
Yeah.
pretty much 99% of the time. So why didn't they just say the city was Tokyo?
I think well, like Kyoto's the capital of Japan. Tokyo is like the.
So it's supposed
part.
to be a cross between Kyoto and
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like all the most popular parts of Tokyo, all the most popular parts of Kyoto.
That's cool.
Okay, that makes
Probably.
sense.
Like, I don't know enough about it.
Okay. Regardless, they definitely give the city kind of... It kind of feels like a twist on many iconic parts of like modern Japan. Like it feels like you have a lot of like really distinct districts that are like the kind of thing I've seen in other games and anime that feature Tokyo as a setting. So that's cool.
Tokyo
I've
seems
never
like a
been
cool
there,
place.
so
You should look up some pictures. They have very cool looking nighttime stuff.
yeah, I've seen. I mean, I know what Josh is talking about. The different like.
No, I'm saying we should go.
you
We have a Tokyoto episode of Shareware.
All right.
Please donate to our Patreon.
Yeah, if you guys, if
Send
you
some money
listeners just want to
our
fund
PO
our
box. Our
Sure.
fucking Japanese vacation.
If we ever get famous, that's gonna seem like the most dick thing to say.
Yes.
Like, donate to our Patreon, we'll never have that. And then, like, 5,000 listeners later, well, we could make a lot of money, though. Good idea.
But so we start off kind of learning how to juggle inline skating and graffiti, which is kind of a bizarre combination of things.
But fucking cool, though. Like, that's a good one they cottoned on to.
Yeah.
Because, like, I like doing the little drive-by ones where you don't have to do the minigame.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
Sometimes-
spray it as you go.
Sometimes you just, you do a drive-by. Sometimes you have like an actual mini game to go along with it. I wish that they had a way to tell at a glance which was which. Like, if you look, you can see that like the smallest ones are the drive-by, but there's also a small class of mini game-centric ones that is like, in passing, it can be hard to tell sometimes. So like,
You can.
there are a lot of times where enemies are right on your heels, and if you do a drive-by, then it's no problem. But if you have to go into minigame, you're definitely going to get shot. I wish they had like a different colored arrow for the drive-by ones.
I will say that I haven't really had problems with that. Like, I've been able to differentiate between them pretty easily. But that's just because I have a natural skill and just talent in wasting my life playing video games.
Okay, I've definitely had moments where I thought I was going to do a drive-by, and then I got pulled into the animation for having to manually do it.
And then you're getting beaten to death by cops while you're trying to spray paint a wall.
Yeah, so here's something I didn't realize about this game over the years of just being like vaguely exposed to elements of it, is that there's a fucking ton of police brutality in this game.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The main antagonists really are just the cops, and there's a huge escalation over the course of the game.
What's the sheriff's name? Or the
I don't remember
Oni,
the chief.
Onishima.
Okay.
Onishima?
Yeah, he's the police chief, or the captain. He looks fucking shadier than we do. He's got this fucking trench coat and a big 6-shooter, and he's got this scruffy beard.
Crazy
and
fucking grin.
He looks like one of
bags
those
under his eyes.
cops that's gone rogue. Basically, is the
Yeah,
look they
he
kind
looks
of
like
give him.
he's abusing his power. And all he fucking cares about is chasing us and literally shooting us. Us being just like teenagers that are skating around the city and spray painting.
To be fair, causing quite a lot of damage if you play like me and don't really know what you're doing.
Okay, I would say like the worst thing I've done is like bumped into people on the sidewalk, but I don't really think you can get shot for that.
Well, it was a different time. No.
Yeah. In 2000 Japan, they had a different outlook on police brutality. It was very understood and accepted.
One thing I like that the translators did is they called the police the keisatsu, which like it sounds kind of like this is actually interesting because it's just the Japanese word for police, but it almost sounds like they're making them out to be another gang. Like you got the GGs, you got the noise tanks, you got the keisatsu.
Yeah.
Like they kind of managed to pull in a new element that I don't think the old game had. That's cool.
Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Yeah, that's kind of like
That's
the
what
ethos of this game is fuck the police.
Does it pretty well.
Yeah.
It does.
And I have leveraged that to the greatest extent by utilizing the graffiti editor.
Oh, really?
Did you guys know about this?
I didn't know about the graffiti editor.
You can customize your tags.
Oh, shit. You
in
shouldn't have told me this.
In the garage, go to the left from the map.
Yeah.
And there's an editor, and you can have like a library of them.
That's
like
fucking
cycle
cool.
through all your options.
Oh,
So I've got a big Shareware tag for the large one, and like a squashy and stuff like that. So they're all like horribly crude because it's really hard to draw with an analog stick, but nonetheless, I appreciate that detail.
I'm gonna take my MS Paint of a Planetside Soldier and I'm gonna put that in.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna draw a penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to go.
These damn kids are drawing their penises everywhere.
I guess that's a slightly better justification for like tear gas and
We gotta kill them.
yeah, because they're drawing dicks all over the city. Cause
on the front of helicopters.
and on fucking like police cars and stuff. I love that you can tag all of the vehicles that are pursuing you in the game. Like anytime,
Really?
Yeah, anytime if you like get up close to like helicopters and stuff, you can tag them while they're flying.
I got the helicopter one because fuck completing that without noticing that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could do it to the cops in the first part, and then it got better.
But you kind of prove yourself to Gum and Tab, who Gum doesn't she have like a tutu and she's got like all this, she's decked out in neon and stuff like that. Tab looks like the sleaziest motherfucker. He's wearing this jumpsuit and he's got this big beanie. He looks like a cross between like one of the gang from A Clockwork Orange and like one of the hosts from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, it's a really baggy like tracksuit, and then this hat that he's got like pulled down to his eyes.
He's my go-to guy. Partially because I like how fucking creepy he looks, and also just for some reason I have good luck with him. I don't know. I guess his stats are right where I need them to be.
they're aligned to
So
your play
when
style.
I was doing his challenge, I just kind of took note of this. You're supposed to grab the car to ride up the hill, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're like teaching you that.
Yeah.
So I went to grab a car, and another car hit me, and I got up the hill because he
Pushed you?
Well, no, I was like on the hood of his car,
Oh.
and he like drove me up the hill. I'm like,
Nice.
all right, that'll do.
I really like that they have that mechanic. So when you're skating and a car pulls beside you, you can grab onto the rear bumper and ride it up.
Is that still called skitching or is that just skateboarding?
I guess I would assume you would still call it skitching, and I know like people. I'm pretty sure people do that on bicycles and stuff too. Like, but I don't know if it has a different term. I guess I would just say it would be the same. But it's nice because going up hills, especially like this 45-degree one that they demonstrated to you with, would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It would be slow. The one thing I don't like about this game is that it feels slow to me. It feels like it should be like 25% faster.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem as fast as I would have thought it would be based on the premise. But then again, we are literally on like roller skates, which that kind of has like a lower speed limit.
Turbo boosts.
Yeah. Well, they do
have
say
your
that you have our roller skates are like magnetized, which is how
Yeah.
we do like sick grinds and stuff like that. So I guess they could, if they wanted to, they could come up with some other fantastical elements to our skates. Because there is like a
Maybe we'll get
semi-futuristic vibe.
upgrades.
Yeah, that would be cool. once you get introduced to all the gangs, well, you get introduced to the gangs by Dr. K, who is the host of Jet Set Radio, which is the...
I like the wary look he's giving us. Like, they're not gonna do it again.
I was pretty convinced
not gonna
that you
do
were going
it.
to shout it again. You did give me your word. You were saving it till the end.
Brent gave his word.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
Brent has made no promises.
Brent is he's renegade. He's fucking pirate radio right now.
Oh shit.
But yeah,
I love the pirate radio aspect thrown in there too, because like it's all just kind of like rebel with that.
yeah. This whole
Other
game
cons.
is just like it's like an impotent middle finger.
Yeah, like guerrilla radio, graffiti, and roller skating, man.
Yeah, and lots
That's
of neon.
3 food groups that make up a teen's life.
Yep. But yeah, Dr. K, he kind of preaches the word about the ongoing rivalry between the gangs and makes it out to be kind of like a powder keg of tension between the various factions.
Which is funny because they're all just fucking ridiculous.
yeah,
It's
they're-
really good.
it's hard to take any of them seriously other than the fucking like SWAT teams, like he said, the cops being the other faction.
Oh yeah, even then though, like SWAT teams start to lose their menace when you just keep clowning them. These
Yeah,
cops don't know what they're doing.
yeah, for sure. I ended up trying all of the characters, but I can't stand Gum for some reason. I don't really understand what the nuances are though. Like, so every character has.
Gum's the main guy, right?
No, that's
Or-
Boost. Gum is the girl that starts with the GGs.
Oh, okay.
There's 3. There's like power, technique, and
Spray, I think.
Yeah,
Graffiti.
graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming graffiti just makes it take fewer steps in the minigame. But I don't know what the fuck technique and power are for.
Power might be like the amount
your
of jump.
boost thing,
Okay.
like running thing.
Yeah, you also do get a boost, which like is kind of a marginal increase in speed at
Yeah,
best.
it doesn't like it feels like you just do it so you can jump farther.
Yeah, sometimes I don't actually know if I'm doing it because it doesn't actually make that big of a difference. I wish that they had, like, you know how there's kind of like a blue spark that kicks up off of you when you start the boost? I wish
Yeah.
that was just like constantly on when you were boosting.
So you
'cause
don't, yeah.
Why the fuck not? Like, it would just be nice to know when it's working.
Yeah. Like, I end up just like reactivating it every time I lose it, just in case that's how it works.
How did you guys fare on Love Trap? I think that's the 3rd mission. It's where they first introduced the SWAT team, and there's that crane that you have to grind.
Yeah,
across.
that's actually the first one I did.
Okay.
I got a turbo ranking, but I don't know, like that's like the 2nd highest. But I never like I keep getting high scores, but I never feel like I'm doing particularly well.
I think the score is like largely affected by how many spray cans and how much time you have left, because at the end it like ticks down your spray cans and your time.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm going really slow, but I'm doing the missions and
They're
they're getting
pretty good
Yeah.
scores usually, I
Yeah.
feel like. Well, and the thing that's weirdest to me is like, so this mission, I think you get like 600 seconds to do it.
Like 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a lot of fucking time, and I don't really understand why there's a timer in 90% of these missions. Like, it feels like they're pretty much always giving you way more than enough time than you could ever feasibly use, unless you were literally not trying to do the mission whatsoever.
Like the thing is that even without using the map, I was clearing it, except for the time when I accidentally exited the map,
Yeah.
which was on this Love Trap.
Yeah, so there are like in-world exits where like you can just like ride off or skate off down a street and then it just fucking quits the mission, which I didn't really understand why that's a factor. Like, why not just have it be in the menu?
Yeah, and the thing is that this only happened in Love Trap. Every other time I had ample time to turn around, but in Love Trap, like I was just kind of like, oh, I see something red in the distance. I think that's a red arrow. So even though like something came up on the top and it was like, turn around, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So I was so
Focused.
Yeah, because I was like, oh shit, this is way out of the way. I gotta get it because these cops are gonna keep coming after my ass.
Yeah.
And then
Isn't
I
there
was,
funny run animation where they're like stomping?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, they have all these little, like, almost like vignettes anytime you, like, escape from the cops, where they're like, oh, damn.
It's like, oh man.
There's actually a lot of swearing in this game, too.
Yeah.
That I was kind of surprised by for a Sega game. I was
Even
kind
in
of,
the songs.
yeah, for sure. I always kind of associated Sega with, like, I know they were always kind of like edgier than Nintendo, but I always figured in like kind of like PG.
Sonic edgy.
Yeah, not like they're dropping shits and dams left and right, which this game very much features, both in the dialogue and in the music.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this because I feel like as a weeb I have to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I do kind of understand what they're saying in Japanese, and I know just enough to know that it's exactly what you would expect them to be saying.
Okay.
They're saying like, "Oh, you asshole, fuck you."
It's basically just bitching about how you're ruining everyone's day.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So I just felt like, get a little bit of trivia out there, show that I'm still carrying the weeb flag high.
Yeah.
Weed flag, Brett.
But like between the exits in the map and the car riding, it feels like this game used to be open world. Like in production, and then halfway through they decided to make it like a series of discrete levels. Which, like, the more I think about it, like, a lot of this game I think would have benefited from it being open world. But instead there's like all these weird, like, seemingly vestigial elements that kind of just make it feel a little bit rough around the edges, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't like getting hit by cars.
I do appreciate, though, that when you get hit by cars,
What you do?
you get, like, phased movement for, like, a really generous amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically invincible for the next, like, 6 seconds, which is also really important for when you're getting shot while doing graffiti, because sometimes they post, like, graffiti points up by just where, like, the SWAT team truck, where they're just always going to be hanging out.
Yeah,
So you
but
can-
like if you do that as your first thing, you're fine. But I guess it's just like them going, well, if you master the level, you'll know where to go when, and it's like, well, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, I definitely don't see myself going for, like, a score attack kind of thing
No.
in this game.
That'd be frustrating.
But, like,
I would hate myself.
it's
for it.
really weird when there's, like, moments that you just kind of have to sit and tank while doing graffiti. Like, I felt like pretty much once per stage that includes the police, I find myself getting to a point where I'm just, like, sitting right next to 5 cops with their guns to the back of my head, getting, like, 3 sprays in during my iframes, and then getting knocked back down. And then I end up winning because of it, and then I get a good score, so it's like,
Well, I was supposed to do that.
I guess. Because, like,
You've been rewarded for it.
it's either that or you kite them all the way to the other end of the map and then bolt back, which is like, that's not
And then
fun.
if you fuck up once, you
You're-
didn't really get much time.
Yeah, they're caught up with you again, and then you're back to the old tanking routine. In Love Trap, when I got across the crane, which took me, like, on repeat
Did you?
attempts.
Okay, so I couldn't do it there,
Yeah.
but then I wall rode and got across super easily. There's a wall on the side.
Oh,
I
nice.
can
didn't
wall ride
realize
on
there was a wall ride option over there. That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way this is the only way.
I actually didn't understand how to do the wall ride at first, so you can, if you're holding the right trigger, which is the boost, the speed boost, and you jump into a wall at like a 45-degree angle, you can basically just like grind on it as if it were a rail for a while. But I couldn't figure it out for a while because I didn't actually realize I needed to be holding the trigger. So I was just like ramming into walls. That's actually when I gave up for the tutorial, was the wall grind part. I just fucking rammed into walls for a while and I'm like, fuck this, I'm just going to play the game and hopefully I'll figure it out by then. I had not figured it out by this point, so I did end up doing the grind across the crane,
Was yours as pathetic as mine was?
where you just like really slowly creep forward because you've lost all your momentum while you get shot by the cops.
And then it gives you a fucking action shot, like a hero shot, like,
Yeah, so there's this weird thing, like those little vignettes I was talking about with the cops, they do it, the same thing whenever you do, like, I don't know how they distinguish them, but I guess it's just like what they consider to be like a set piece moment is like a lot of levels will have a time where you like make this big leap across a chasm or something, or like you masterfully transition between two grind points, and you do it and then it cuts and the camera, like the UI fades away and it's just a little tiny cutscene of you doing it from like this really flashy angle. Except it's not like it fucks with the timeline. You do it and then it cuts to the cutscene and it shows you doing it again. And then the camera immediately cuts back to you halfway through doing that thing. So I have multiple times gotten knocked into those cutscenes, and then when I resume, I miss the jump because I've completely lost my sense of momentum.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I hate that they have those. Like, at first I was like, oh, that's cool. It adds a little bit of like a cinematic flair to it. But now I just resent them because they've messed me up. It's weird that they don't just... as soon as you're starting the jump, do the cutscene thing and then make it like a guaranteed success so that there's not room for that weirdness. But
I mean, I just liked how fucking lame I looked because I kept jumping to get more momentum, so it was just me like hopping over and over again on a rail until eventually I like did a fucking geriatric leap off the crane and barely made it.
Yeah, I struggled with the crane for a little while, but then I did figure out how to get across. And then I fucking realized I only had 3 spray cans.
Yep, gotta do it again.
Oh no!
But from there you can get a secret.
Yeah.
There's a little door if you're going all the way down, and you can go through that and you get number 81. I don't know what that means, but you get number 81.
I don't know what that is either, actually.
Yep.
I have found like there are parts where you get like money, and I don't know what you spend the money on yet.
Money? I haven't even seen money.
It's like there's like a C with, it's like the cents logo but flipped.
Oh shit!
I'll
have a look at that.
Yeah, it's when you grab those coins. They're like yellow little UFO things that float in the air. They're like kind of hard to reach. There's only a few on every level.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like, I think they might just be collectibles.
Well,
it gets you like bonus material.
Okay. I mean, there's some currency that it's tallying up somewhere. I just don't know what the fuck they're for. Or maybe it just goes to your points or something. I don't know. At the end of the level. Regardless, yeah. So you have to like collect spray cans in the environment. You don't start with any, and every tag requires a certain amount based on how big it is.
And if you make a mistake, it
uses it without you actually making progress.
Yep.
Or if you get shot midway through.
Yep.
Which is a pain in the ass. But how do you guys feel about the spray paint minigame? Because
I feel like it is weird, but weird in a way that I'm luckily attuned to.
It's better with the controller than that.
Yeah.
Fuck on with this shit again.
This game,
Mr. Ori.
I cannot imagine playing this game with the keyboard.
So, for the first couple missions, what I had to do was actually just like do the graffiti,
circles.
do the graffiti, quit. You can do it, but it's faster to just do some, quit out, do some more, quit out, do out some more, quit out, do some more, quit out.
Yeah, because if you back out mid-tag, you keep your progress.
Yeah, and then what you have to do is go back and spray again with the down arrow, because that's the easy one. So you just like fastly go back and forth as quick as you can to do the spray paint thing. I was like, there's got to be a better way.
And it turns out the better way is to use the controller like the game is designed for.
Doesn't it say like it's recommended you use a gamepad or something?
I guess I don't...
Or at least in the config, it's just telling you like left trigger, right trigger.
Yeah, it does
and
have...
It's like E.
It tells you other... It has in parentheses all of the controller layouts, which I guess implies that you should use it, but... yeah, so the actual controls for it are basically just like doing like half circle, quarter circle movements with the analog stick. And at first, I was really... I was kind of annoyed with them. They felt really disjointed. Until I realized that it's actually all supposed to be one fluid motion, which the UI does not articulate well at all. Because, like, what they should have done for the actual, like, presentation of it is just have, like, a Guitar Man style, like, stream coming in that you have to move the stick towards. But instead they have, like, it shows a symbol with the analog stick moving clockwise halfway from the top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has
you're not supposed to, like... You're not supposed to bring it to the top and then do that.
You're never, once you've started, you never put the analog stick back into the middle.
Oh shit.
So like, if you pay attention, and I didn't realize this for the first like 3 missions because the game doesn't say it to you, and it also like, the UI almost makes it seem like the opposite is true, but like, it's actually always, the starting point of your spray is always the ending point of your previous spray.
Oh.
So if you, like, if it gives you, like, start at the top and do halfway down around the right, then your next one will be start at the bottom and go back counterclockwise, etc. So, like, it's actually one fluid motion, which actually makes it so you can really quickly snap out those movements.
Oh, cool.
But the way the UI presents it is like, here's your first one.
Yeah.
You did it. Here's the second one.
You did.
Good job. When in actuality, it could just be like quarter circle up, quarter circle left, quarter circle right, quarter circle down, etc.
Yeah.
So you probably just get those done real fucking
They
fast.
should have
Yeah.
had like a Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it should have been just something where like you see the whole pattern in advance.
Or like if each, like you said with the Guitar Man thing, we take it a little bit further, have each character have their own graffiti theme. That guy takes over the song, and then it's just like...
Yeah, if it was to the rhythm, that would be especially cool, because the music is definitely like a big part of the like presentation of the game, but it doesn't ever have any actual gameplay impact.
Yeah.
Which like not every game that has music as a focus needs to be a rhythm game, but I feel like for the sake of like an analog stick like QuickTime event, that could easily be bound to the rhythm of the music in an interesting way. Especially since like the game doesn't ever really evolve, like the graffiti mechanic. Like the things you're doing in the tutorial are the same sprays you're going to be doing for the rest of the game.
I think each game has their own... Each character has their own thing, right?
They do, but it ultimately is always either a half rotation or a full rotation or straight up, straight down.
There's no different moves.
Yeah, you like it's always some movement that ends on the top of the stick or the bottom of the stick, which like I don't know how crazy it would get before it started getting annoying, but like maybe if there was less of an emphasis on cops shooting you all the time, they could get more intricate with it and have it be like
another stick.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you had to do like on a big mural, maybe your character has like a cannon in each hand, and you have to do a right hand motion with the right stick while you're doing a left hand motion.
You'd have to like slow it down to slow motion for that though.
Well,
with the cops or something.
That's what I'm saying is like I think the game would have been more interesting if they diminished the amount of like the police's impact on the game and made it more about like doing intricate tags with the controls, like actually emulating what the characters are doing.
I was just reminded of Mark Echo's Getting Up.
Yeah, this is kind of like Tony Hawk meets Mark Echoes.
Is that game good?
I don't know. That's another kind of eclectic sort of mashup game though.
Oh.
What?
I figured out my game club game.
Mark Echo's Getting Up?
Kinda.
Okay, we're gonna have to give it a little bit of a rest though, because we can't do 2 graffiti games back to back.
The next thing we
Holy
know,
shit.
we would be out tagging trains and stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna go straight to our heads.
Oh man, all of our parkour practice. By that I mean all of your parkour practice. In my
And
city.
even we don't have parkour practice.
Oh, you don't? Bummer. I thought you guys were going out every day. Just...
That's us.
But right after this is an interesting level, the Monster of Kogane, which you are on like this like pier or something. It's like above the water, and you're like going through this set path, and you're like crashing through walls of these adjacent apartments.
Yeah.
And it was actually like this, for once, this really like orchestrated level. Like it almost felt like an Uncharted sequence or something, where you're like going through this one set path.
That's where it confused me a lot, because like I ended up just hanging around the beginning because I was like, okay, well I gotta do this jump to get over to the other side, and you can't.
Yeah, well, because it betrays the format up until this point, where like another aspect that makes it feel like it was like at one point in development an open world game is like pretty much all the levels, once you start, it's almost like a Mario 64 level, where it's like it's not open world, but you can go to any part of the level from the start.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, here's the playground, fuck around.
And here it's just a linear route.
Yeah, which like
It's a cool one.
I think it is cool, and like maybe that could have been a whole other direction for the game that would have been interesting, and that's where it kind of started giving me some Mirror's Edge vibes, where it was like there's kind of like a specific path that like if you nail it, you're gonna really succeed, but if you don't figure out that path, then you're just gonna kind of mill about for a while.
One thing I appreciate about this level in particular is that it was short.
Yeah,
it was really short.
I think this mission was like 2 minutes, and of course like the timer once again is like super long.
Yeah, I think it was like straight up.
So yeah, that time is
800.
completely useless.
Yeah, I feel
almost ran out of time once, and I think Josh knows when. Noise tanks.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that pretty quickly. We get to this Ben 10 Boogie, which takes place downtown at night, and you can tell this game came out pre-World Trade Center, because There's like, you know how there's like police chatter overhead all the time, giving you an update of like, oh, let's catch those fucking kids and pop a cap in their ass because they're graffitiing.
Let's blow their fucking brains out.
They refer to 911 calls as 9/11 calls in this
Yeah.
game. Which
I
like
noticed
really
that.
that stood out to me as like, oh yeah, this game came out in 2000 because nobody calls them 9/11 calls anymore.
Did they back then?
Maybe it
I
could.
never really.
We're really kind of post 9/11 kids. Like,
Yeah.
we got.
We wouldn't really know, but like I assume if you were going to, it would have been before 2001 because I've certainly never heard anyone in like normal conversation refer to 911 as 9/11. At least unless it was a joke.
Hello, is this 9/11? Like to report a crime?
Yeah, I'd like to report 9/11. And it's a little bit late, but you know, it's better late than never.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to speak up.
Yeah, we've all forgotten, so.
Yeah.
Forgotten what?
Exactly.
This is where you have this, like, urban area.
Yeah, and then number 540.
Oh,
is-
this was my favorite quote from, like, it was Dr. K, that's his name, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He says about the noise tanks, he says, they sell software to pay for their spray cans.
Which
That's my
seems
favorite.
like if they...
Favorite quote from him.
Yeah, they should just like focus on the software side of things. It seems like they've got a good gig going. Like they could just be making fucking digital art, but I guess they really just want to stick it to the man.
Yeah, it's more about the statement, Josh.
Yeah, than the
Dr. K has like the funniest quotes.
Yeah.
Like I know there's one where he's like concerned listener writes in like, oh, I can't make my house payments or something like that, and he's just like, what? That's easy. Burn your house down, and then just cuts to black.
Yeah, they picked like the exact perfect voice actor for that
Oh
character.
God, it's
Like, he
the
has-
best world for him.
He has like
Jet
the
Set
perfect...
Radio!
Oh boy.
I said it. He didn't.
He has like the perfect amount of like gusto. He's just like always into it, which is like what you need out of those like cheesy radio hosts.
Hell yeah. I could be one of them. Oh jeez.
Yeah, Brent.
Savage.
But mission number 540. I don't know why it's called this. Is this like the property number or I
Might
don't
be
know.
the construction site. I don't have any weeb trivia on this one.
What is the significance, Brent?
It's like a junkyard.
4 means death, and 5 means go, so it's saying go death, go death.
And it's a junkyard?
And it's a junkyard.
Well, yeah, it's like a construction site junkyard thing. It's weird.
Maybe they're using the cars to make the building.
Yeah, there's a big pile of broken down cars and then like some mid-construction buildings. But this mission I really actually kind of liked because it was the moment that I like intuitively figured out the wall grind because they have those curved walls.
Yeah, you have to go up to get those.
Yeah, there's no way to get there without
tags.
doing the wall grind.
I had a really hard time with those. I got the first 2 very easily, but I got, like, the last one, I just had to cheese it. I fucking threw myself off the roof at it.
Oh,
And
came down from above.
yeah, and, like, I genuinely put in an effort, but every time he just kept falling off the fucking wall.
Oh, really?
Like,
Like,
became death from above.
yeah, I became Death from Above. That was the last one I had, and this is actually, I guess, 2 times I was ever close to the timer running out, because I was at, like, 120 seconds on this one.
That's interesting because I like as soon as I saw that I got it. I was like, oh, okay. So
Maybe it's because I didn't hold down the trigger.
okay, maybe you weren't holding it. Okay. I was all excited. I was like, shit, this kind of opens up a whole new traversal element. I was thinking they were going to start adding a lot more verticality to the levels because looking at it, it seemed like you were supposed to wall ride your way out of there. But then I realized like, oh, you can just jump on the cars and climb out.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of disappointing. I kind of wanted that to be a moment where they were like raising the skill floor. Like, okay, figure this out.
I'm glad it wasn't, because I would have been stuck on that skill floor, and then I'd be in this conversation going, yeah, I didn't beat the game after this.
Yeah, fair enough. This part is like the epitome of what I was talking about with like tanking enemies. The helicopter, there's just no way to address it.
Well, you can spray
tag
it.
them.
You can spray it, and then
That
it'll crash.
stops it?
Yeah, it'll crash
Oh,
it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them, which is why I eventually just went, okay, I have to see what tagging these things does.
Okay, I thought that tagging them was just a fuck you and gave you points. Because all the green arrows give you points.
Yeah.
They're just like optional tags. The game didn't really imply that it was going to do that.
No,
So...
I had to completely just be like, Well, it looks like the cockpit.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of curious what other options, like if there are other things like that where you can like disable enemies with certain optional tags. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that in the future. But
Well, I was gonna say maybe when they start bringing in the tanks, but they already did that.
yeah, they kind of jumped the gun pretty early with the militarization thing.
Oh man, they're probably gonna call in giant robots.
Oh yeah, some kaiju.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I was just getting pounded by this fucking helicopter firing missiles constantly. I think I got out with like one little pixel sliver of health at the end, just because I was like spraying as much as I could during my iframes.
Yeah, fun mission.
Good times.
Yeah, it was high highs, low lows.
Yeah, I love how he's just kind of what's I forgot the chief's name again. The captain.
Onishima.
Yeah, his Onishima. He goes, send in the fucking helicopters.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens anymore.
Yeah, just fill him with lead. He's always like at the end of his rope.
Poor guy.
I'm surprised he hasn't been fired and replaced, because with all of his fucking resources, he can't fucking catch 3 kids.
Well, I mean, at this point, you're 4 kids.
Well, he got the skateboard
5
kids.
I was not 4 kids yet. I did it in a different order.
Okay.
I guess, because I haven't done Muse Challenge yet. But
No, but there was...
At this point, I think I had 2 characters. It was before Yo-Yo.
I didn't. I did the Kogane Circus, which is the first time you take on one of the rival gangs head to head.
That's what the chase scene.
Yeah, you chase them in this is an interesting mission type. So basically you're going up against 3 of the members of one of the enemy gangs, and in this case it's the kaiju lovers.
These guys were actually fun to go up against.
Yeah, I was like, oh, interesting. They've like completely changed the mission dynamic. This isn't just like running around and fighting tag points. What you have to do is like get right on their tail and then like spray paint their backs to like disarm them essentially. And then you've like won that part of that turf is now yours from the enemy gang.
It's a good time.
But they have this weird thing where you have to go find them in the hallways.
Yeah, you kind of chase them onto like dead ends, and then they like they spin back. They're basically just like sending you running around the map every which way. But I didn't really have trouble with this one.
No.
It ends up being a little bit more stressful in the later ones.
Yep.
But right after this is Muse Challenge. So right when you're like going into the level select, it just interrupts you to say like Challenger approach, or whatever. And Mew is this like this Japanese girl in like all blue with like a weird. She's got kind of a cat vibe, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I did have Graham by this point.
Yeah, that's right. What I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, I was wrong. I did.
Graham is my go-to guy.
Graham with like the big like bug eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you do Graham's challenge, he basically just like has a route that he demonstrates to you every time, and then you have to mirror it. And I really like these missions because they teach me how to do shit that I wouldn't have thought of in the first place. And there's like no room for misinterpretation because you literally just watch. It's like a ghost thing, like a ghost trial. Like you literally just watch him do it and then
just figure it out.
They show you they show you what, like all the other ones they kind of like it's free form. You kind of ride what you want, but here you have to ride the exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool, and I like it a lot more than I liked one other challenge that showed up and made me want to kill something.
Yeah, so then we're at Muse Challenge, and then I realized like, oh, when I beat Graham's challenge, I unlocked him. I didn't realize this.
And he's like sitting in the corner of the clubhouse.
Yeah, because when you select your character at the beginning of the mission, it just like kind of pulls out to the garage and like spins the camera around to 3 characters, so it's entirely possible to just not see Garam like sitting over in the corner.
Yeah.
But like he's got a bunch of power. I tried him out. He was alright. He got me through Muse Challenge just fine. And she has another similar thing of like demonstrating a path that you have to mimic. But each one takes place in a different, like one of the main maps that all the missions are kind of cut up into. I kind of noticed that they were doling out new songs over the course of every mission, which I appreciated because the songs are all pretty short, or at least the like original stuff. They have a few licensed tracks, but a lot of the stuff it could start to get a little repetitive.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that they kind of like saved some things for later missions so that like the variety is kind of kept up.
Yeah. That was pretty nice. I like the vocal tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I like vocal tracks more than instrumentals pretty much universally.
Yeah. Although even the instrumentals, at least, like they do a lot of like samples and that kind of thing. So there aren't very many tracks that are literally just instrumental.
Oh. And then, what's the next level?
Well, because we just did Muse Challenge, but because the Kogain Circus, the Poison Jammers got taken. Huh? Kogain. It looks like Rogaine and like Colgate combined.
Yep.
To me.
I wonder if they'll hear it if I just smack you in the mouth.
Well, at the Kogain Circus, you take out the Poison Jammers and you get that piece of the broken record.
Yeah.
These guys are really fucking easy. I don't know if you guys had such an easy time, but...
I didn't have trouble with them whatsoever. Do we know what the fucking record is for yet? Because, we're claiming these record shards from the other gangs.
Well, yeah, because the next one's Graffiti High, where you take out the noise tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Tell us about the noise tanks, Brent.
Imagine an infinite hell. Imagine that it's bad. And there you go. It's just a fucking shitty mission. It's fucking irritating. They're going all over the fucking place. You can barely cut them off.
It's like a bigger map than last time.
Yeah, so this is a reprise of the mission type of having to tag the backs of the enemy gang. Except
for you guys, it was a reprise. You guys had a fucking introduction to this shit.
Oh, this was your first one.
This is my first one.
Oh yeah, that would be brutal because this is the hardest of the three that we've done so far.
Holy hell!
The map is so annoying because basically you're in like this. It's basically like an intersection, but then there's all these skyways, like these walking paths that have staircases that lead up to them. So you have to do like a jump grind up the staircases constantly to get up to the second floor and chase them. It's such a pain in the ass, and you're constantly behind them. They always move faster than you. So the only time you can actually get any tag time in is when they get to the end of a path and stop and turn around.
Yeah, or if you manage to grind in the middle of the street because there's a little rise that you can grind on, and then sometimes you can use that to cut them off a little bit. Mm. But even then, only one of them is actually slow enough for you to catch by following the route. And I like following the route because they're doing interesting shit, and I just have to be like, well, I'm just gonna fucking jump across it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Just skip everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck it.
For me, this was kind of like a back-to-back session of shitty missions because the exact next thing I did was Yo-Yo's challenge.
Oh my god, I would have killed myself.
This definitely tested my patience.
Yo-Yo looks like a complete tool.
Yo-Yo's
Yo-Yo is a tool. So yeah, like I said, all the challenges so far have been kind of like a call and repeat sort of thing.
Why did this one change up?
Yo-Yo changes it up. He's like, no, fuck that. We're gonna race. We're gonna race
to a destination that only I know.
Yeah, they show it on the map, but there's no way to actually tell what the route is just by looking at the map.
It's just nonsense. It's just like red lines.
It's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, so there's one tag spot all the way on the opposite end of this map, and you have to follow him to it through this weird arcane bullshit path that doubles back on itself. And of course, he's taking the most suboptimal route ever, but he goes faster than you anyway. So you have to follow his batshit path just to figure out where to go, even though you would be faster if you knew what it was in advance.
Which is what I eventually had to do.
Yeah, the only way to actually do it is to follow his bullshit path over and over again as you keep fucking failing out because he ditches you by taking some weird fucking turn at the last second. And then learn the path, watch him beat you, and then start over knowing exactly what to do so you can take all the shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's not fun at all. It's not interesting.
There are ways to get ahead of him, but you have to be jumping pretty well. Mm-hmm. You gotta be grinding all the fucking time.
And cutting corners.
Yeah, you gotta cut corners. You can't lose momentum.
But he's still faster than you, so he will inevitably get back up ahead of you most of the time.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. As a skill challenge, it would be something that would have to happen near the end of the game. It asks a lot of you.
Why did they just change it?
Yeah, because the challenges were the best mission type up until this point.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, did they become my least favorite.
And, of course, Yo-Yo having the worst mission design, he is also the most obnoxious fucking character in the game.
Oh, the thing that got me was his song.
I didn't mind the song, but every character, whenever they jump, they have 2 or 3 lines that they say. Yo-yos are sweet, tight, sweet, tight. Over and over and over again. You have to listen to this while he's fucking grinding and jumping around the
And,
racetrack.
like, beating the shit out of you.
15 minutes of listening to sweet, tight, sweet, tight, sweet, tight.
I had way less problems with that than I did just like the.
I hate how smug the fucker looks.
Yeah,
He looks like a
he's got this snarky grin on his face.
There's like that is one kid I would sell out to Onishima like immediately.
Yeah, he knows his mission isn't fun and he revels in it.
Yeah, he's a real fuck.
Yeah. But immediately after this, I did Love Attack, which is for me, the final versus mission.
That was me as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, like, I feel like this one was supposed to be the first or maybe second one. Because it's so much easier than the fucking tech guys.
Yeah.
Because you're going up and down the hill.
I'm pretty sure I didn't even have
So
them
on your way
available.
up, you have advantage because you're like falling behind them, and then on the way down, you have speed.
Yeah. I got this one on my first try, and it was over in like a couple minutes. It was really quick. Once you do it, it's revealed that the Golden Rhinos, who I guess they're like a government entity. They're basically like an arm of the government. They're going around and
like the even more militarized police.
Yeah, they're like the uber military. They're going around and covering up all your tags because every time you beat one of these factions, you're like claiming another district of the city as like GG territory. They're going and cleaning off all your tags.
So really, they're just actually cleaning up the streets and making things nicer.
Yeah, well, they're making
things cleaner, not nicer.
They're making way for the Rokaku project, which is like this big conglomerate that's taking over the city.
Yeah, Koji. No,
Goji.
Goji.
Yeah.
Goji. He's the future of Tokyo, man.
Yeah. So it seems
Future
like
of Tokyo Man?
He's the future of Tokyo, man.
Tokyo Man.
I wish I could
Hot
be
shit.
Tokyo Man. It's like Spider-Man, but better.
You're the future Tokyo man.
What do you
man,
spray
man.
out of your arms?
No,
Ramen noodles?
just like schoolgirls.
That seems painful for everyone involved.
Hey, nobody said being Tokyo Man was easy, okay?
Fair enough. But yeah, so it seems like the second arc of this is going to be less gang versus gang and more gang versus corporations.
No, I bet you the third one you're
So
going
do
to
you
be going
think-
up against Goji himself on his.
Do you have
on
to
his
like team
rollerblades.
up with these guys? You've like
Yeah, I'm kind of
because
interested to see.
what
I'll
was
bet you
that?
that's final act.
The Poison Jam guy got kidnapped.
Mhm.
Like they got kidnapped by
Good,
like
fuck
this
'em.
limo.
Yeah. At this point, I was kind of thinking, like, I really wish they had gone with the open world format because what they had going with the challenge levels is actually, like, a really genius way of, like, kind of catching players up. Like, in my mind, the best way for this game to have worked is, like, you have easy open world missions at the beginning in every section. You do a couple of those. And then you do one of the challenges where the like respective character of that area like teaches you all the like niche maneuvers to get to all the difficult to reach spots. And then you have another final open one that is like really demanding and like necessitates wall grinding up to weird spots and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And so that like you're kind of like getting a lay of the land, and then it's like elevating your knowledge of that area so that you have all the niche understanding, and then they like finally put you to the test. But
Yeah.
instead, it just kind of feels like
Well, they kind of
aimlessly jumping around between the mission types in a way that doesn't really like have continuity.
Yeah.
Well, and the maps they just kind of show you a small section at a time. It doesn't really.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like all of these levels take place in 3 main districts like that are like an entire map, but they only ever focus on like one subsection generally speaking. So it's like they built these whole maps as like continuous interconnected spaces and then just didn't leverage that fact at all. I guess my only hypothesis is that maybe it was like a performance issue, like the power of the Dreamcast was such that like they couldn't create as one giant map that you were constantly moving around between. Instead,
So they already have a lot of pop-in.
yeah, and this is on the remaster we're playing, so I can only imagine. I have no idea how this game performed on Dreamcast, but it's safe to assume that it could have been not 60 FPS constantly.
So it could have been game choices because of. performance issues.
Yeah, I would guess that like they tried to make it open world and they realized like the game doesn't fucking run, so we have to make it miniature levels. But yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the format of the levels from now on, because we've kind of like quote unquote claimed all 3 of the districts. So I don't know if like the map is going to open up to different areas or we're going to retread these areas.
I hope
But
it's not just the same ones, but harder.
Yeah, hopefully there's like some new parts of the town, or at least like, I think it would actually really be cool if the Golden Rhinos, in their like cleanup process of the city, they've like renovated parts of the town. So it's like the same maps, but
With
they've
new elements?
shifted up. Yeah, like new architecture or something in there.
Like
Yeah.
make it
I-
harder, but it's the same people and shit.
I feel like this first part was just kind of us getting introduced to the 3 other gangs,
Yeah,
and then it's gonna kind of be
the
us
gangs
versus-
working together
Yeah,
to protect renegade culture or whatever.
Yeah.
for the renegades of punk, I
Yep.
guess.
So I don't know, how are you guys feeling about it so far overall?
It's
Better.
been
Better than it was the first part when you're playing with keyboard?
Yeah, I was kind of a little like frustrated to
Yeah,
start.
that's a safe bet.
it's been very frustrating, but I've been having an alright time with it overall.
Okay. I feel like outside of that like double whammy of having to tag the tech guys and then doing Yo-Yo's race back to back, which was a fucking serious low point, outside of that I've been enjoying a lot because the fucking music is fantastic. There's a big variety of it. The art looks great. Like,
This game
I'm
has
actually
some
having,
style.
yeah, very stylish, and I'm actually like having most of the time I'm having fun during the missions. There are just like weird moments where it's like, oh, I'm like stuck in a corner getting tear gassed by a SWAT guy repeatedly. Like, what is this here for?
Oh, you don't like that?
I find it
Oh, it's
slightly
fun.
less enjoyable when I'm constantly being hit.
I usually enjoy that, but whatever floats your boat.
Yep, to each their own. But yeah, so that brings Chapter 1 to a close. To those of you playing along, we're going to be doing Chapter 2 for next week, and then the week after that we'll finish it out with Chapter 3.
We should probably say what Chapter 2 plays through, because I don't think that
It
like
gives-
there wasn't a
tells
chapter.
you.
No, it cuts to black and says Chapter 2. Cuts to black, Chapter 3.
Okay.
I think Chapter 2 is called...
I think it's just called the Rokaku group.
Oh, I
Is it?
thought it was like Combo and... What's his name?
Oh, it might
Combo
be.
and Cube is the name of the next chapter. Regardless, you'll know when you hit a chapter because you'll have another little interlude from Dr. K, and then he describes what the fuck is going on in like his disjointed...
Jet Set Radio!
There it is.
There it is.
And then it fades to black and says the chapter. But if you're somebody who's played Jet Set Radio like back when it came out, and you have some perspective on like what it was like in the climate of 2001 gaming, that would be cool to hear, because I don't actually know anybody who owned a Dreamcast. Or if you're like us and you're just now playing it for the first time, and
Tell us how much you hate Yo-Yo.
yeah, let us know your opinions on the scumbag that is Yo-Yo, or any other parts of the game, by writing in to sharewarepodcast@gmail.com.
Yo-Yo's a douche.
Yeah.
Fucking hate Yo-Yo.
Other than that, it's going to bring this episode to a close. Thanks for listening. This has been Josh.
Brett overheating.
Brent, and you had one more in you, right?
Jet Set Radio!